Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. And in today's battle we have, well, on the one hand I want to say nothing special, in that there's no fancy gimmicks, there's no shenanigans, it's just a straightforward battle in a surprisingly straightforward Tier 11 supership. This is Rotin au Gratin, an uncommonly French name, for somebody sailing an uncommonly French supership. The technically Tier 11 French battleship, the Patrie, is unusual in the Tier 11s, in that there's nothing unusual about it. It doesn't have any fancy gimmicks, there's no funny button, it doesn't get a combat instruction the way most of the others do. It doesn't get any funny or enhanced consumables, it doesn't get a huge mix of consumables. In fact, aside from the standard, for a battleship at least, damage control and damage repair party, the only consumable it gets is an engine boost, which is pretty much exactly the same consumable loadout as any other high tier French battleship. So what's so super about this super ship? Well, I mean, technically nothing really, it's just a good ship. Okay, you could argue maybe it's the guns. These are 17-inch. Almost 16.9 inch, but we'll say 17, 431mm guns with a 26.4 second reload, depending on equipment fit. So yeah, pretty spicy, and she has 12 of them in 3 of those typically French quadruple gun turrets, so it's a lot of firepower. Although the accuracy, while it's not awful, also isn't great. But the range is good, 26 kilometers. These guns do hit hard, and they'll overmatch 30mm of armour, which is real bad news for basically any cruiser and all the battle cruisers. The secondaries can be beefed up surprisingly well too, although I wouldn't recommend it, because while with a full secondary build, you can actually get the secondaries on this thing shooting out to a range of 12.5 kilometers, which is like German standards. You have to sacrifice so much to be able to get a full secondary build on this thing, and most of the secondaries are only 100mm guns, which can't actually penetrate anything and are only really good for setting fires. They don't get the quarter caliber penetration benefit that Japanese 100mm secondaries do. Yeah, you definitely want to go for a main gun battery build on this thing, because these guns take no prisoners. Oh, hello. That's a nice broadside you've got there. Would be a real shame if somebody was to do 36,000 damage to it. Yeah. These guns are probably what makes the Patrie a super ship. It's certainly not the ship's armour. I mean, you know, it's alright, but there's nothing special about it. And like I said, the secondaries, while you can boost them to have a 12.5 kilometer range, they're basically worthless because of the low caliber. But these 431 there we go. Yeah, these guns are very nice. It's not all good news, of course. I mean, like I said, the armour's relatively weak. Very susceptible to high explosive and large caliber armor piercing. The ship has a horrible turning circle. You really do need to be predicting your moves in advance in this thing. And I do have to say, on that subject, Rotin appears to have a supernatural ability to avoid torpedoes. Because this thing is a big torpedo target. Its torpedo damage reduction is not great. It has horrible stealth, and it's a huge target. And while it is fast, I mean, it'll do nearly 40 knots with the engine boost running, it's that turning circle that really cripples this thing's maneuverability, because it's horribly bad, making her a prime target for torpedoes. But watch the number of times he just... Well, like now, for example. Okay, those ones were probably aimed at the Prinz Ruprecht, so... Well, you know what? Keep watching, you'll see what I mean. He's having to make a choice here, of course. When you've got a destroyer spotted in open water on the surface, but at the same time you don't want to let the Rhode Island recover health, because he was down to 2,000 hit points, and there we go. Yeah, good call. I mean, the Rhode Island could not be allowed to recover all of that health. It needed to be finished off. And there's a bunch of ships around here that are much more effective shooting at destroyers, like the Prince Ruprecht here in his secondaries. Next target, the Hanover. High-tier German battleships, of course, with their infamous turtleback armour arrangement protecting the citadel from, well, citadel hits. Although you can citadel them, it's probably going to be at ranges like this. But with these 431mm armour-piercing shells, I mean, you know, the Hanover hit back pretty hard, but still, even with no citadels, that was 20,000 damage to the Hanover. And oh, look at that, he just dodged a bunch of torpedoes. Nobody had any idea those were coming. The first set of torpedoes was spotted by the destroyer on the other side of the island over there. But nobody had a clue those torpedoes were coming, but he just seems to have this knack of turning just in time to not be in the way of any exploding sea sausages. I mean, it might just be dumb luck, that's always a possibility. But it could be that when you're in a ship as large and with as poor concealment and as bad a turning circle as this, it just doesn't pay to be sailing in a straight line for more than 30 or 40 seconds at a time. Speaking of sailing in straight lines, hello, Mr. Montana. Now, unlike the Hanover, I believe you can be citadeled. Let's put this theory to the test. Yeah, that would be affirmative. The Montana's firing back, of course. And the Montana is capable of issuing a spanking of its own as well. And Rotten does get away remarkably lightly. But the Montana again, not so lucky. And now here come the rear turrets. How many is that now? That's 4 citadels, although one of those was against the Encounter earlier. Is it a fluke? No, it's not. It turns out, given broadside to 12 17-inch guns with a, well, taking into account adrenaline rush, probably significantly faster than 26-second reload, is an hilariously bad idea. Although, well, the Montana's threatening to get away with it as well, just like the Rhode Island almost did earlier. He's on low health. Rotten can no longer shoot at him, and he is recovering hit points. So if somebody else on the team would like to finish him off, Rotten's got a light cruiser to shoot at. Now, the Sejong is a very, very lightly armed cruiser, so these are almost guaranteed to just be over pens. But when it's on low enough, yep, that'll do. A light cruiser on low enough health, it doesn't really matter whether you overpenetrate or not. It's still going to die. How are we doing? Not an awful lot of difference in the scores. I mean, the enemy team are slightly ahead, and now going further ahead, having just sunk the Prince Ruprecht. Although the Prince Ruprecht managed just to get a flesh wound award. Nice, there must have been some secondary battery shells in the air right as it was taken out. So, despite the overwhelming kill advantage, there's really nothing in the points. Mostly because Rotten's team haven't managed to secure a single cap circle, and the enemy team had. Although the central cap at Bravo is now being threatened by none other than Rotten himself. Yes, that's right. A Tier 11 battleship is flipping the caps, because the destroyers on the team clearly have better things to do. Speaking of which, that thing needs to die pronto. There go the secondaries. Oh, and there's the high cal. 237,000 damage. Now, as I mentioned, the secondaries on these things are only 100mm, which means they can't even penetrate the armour with the high explosive shells of a Tier 8, 9 or 10 destroyer. A couple of shots out at the Conqueror, although I suspect he's probably targeting... Yeah, everybody's shooting at him, and the friendly Montana took him out. Big issue here, of course, is going to be that enemy destroyer. Now, I wonder if we can guess who he's going for. Have a look at that extremely suspicious-looking high-speed smokescreen. Gee, I wonder who that might be. Oh, look. Have a look at that suspiciously fast-moving high-speed smokescreen that's spitting out semi-armor piercing shells. Gee, I wonder who that can be. Do you think there might be some torpedoes coming? Yeah, I think there might be. Obvious torpedoes are kind of obvious. The thing is, and this is a bit of a blanket generalisation, but when you're within range, within torpedo range of any high-tier Italian destroyer that isn't the Iolo Emilio, you don't really have a lot to be afraid of. Because, boy, their torpedoes suck. I mean, slow, 56 knots, low damage, slightly more than 13,000 damage per torpedo. Here they come. He's probably going to take 2 of them, but it'll be fine. And the 13,000 damage per torpedo is before you factor in the torpedo damage reduction, which admittedly on this ship isn't great, but still even further reduces the damage that you're going to take, while dishing out what is hopefully going to be some pain and suffering. Yep. There's another Citadel. Wait, you just Citadel'd an aircraft carrier? Are you allowed to do that in this game? You want to be careful, Rotten. You keep doing shit like that, they'll buff the armour of aircraft carriers even more. Oh look, there's that encounter that you Citadel'd right at the beginning of the game. Oh wow, you didn't actually Citadel it again. Well, we're going to have to... we can't afford to let that insult stand. Come on, these guns are going to... I don't even know what the reload is on these guns now. Let's see, 22 seconds. 22-second reload on 17-inch guns. Wow. And there it is. That'll teach that encounter not to take a Citadel when Rotten shoots at it. It's a bit of a pity Citadel at the end, though. I mean, he only had a couple of thousand hit points left. Go on, then, have a Citadel. And he's flipped the cap. And the team now have all three of the cap circles. Which isn't bad, because like 2 minutes ago, they didn't have any. And I really can't see the enemy team pulling this one out of their arses. You've probably guessed that yourself, judging by the fact that this is not an episode of A Game of Thrones. But with only 4 ships remaining, and only the Hanover having more than 30,000 hit points, I can't really see this battle lasting much longer. Although the fact that the Hanover does have more than 30,000 hit points, for now, means that there's a lot more damage to be farmed. Like that. Again, no Citadels on the Hanover, but having a turtleback armour scheme doesn't make you immune to taking damage. It just makes it unlikely that you're ever going to get Citadeled. And even then, you can still Citadel German battleships. It just tends to be at ranges like this. The turtleback is more effective the closer you get. Well, it looks like the Fletcher... I mean, there's only the 2 of them left. The Fletcher's spotted, so he's doomed. And the Iwami... I mean, it's difficult to criticise. The Iwami's angling at this point because he's getting shot at by somebody, no matter which way he turns. He has at least managed to take the Alaska B down with him, and the Fletcher almost gets the Irresistible. Rotten, once again, somehow manages to be in the right place to not get hit by a whole bunch of torpedoes, and claims the last kill. Not quite enough for a Kraken Unleashed, but gets the last kill on the Iwami, sealing the victory with... how much damage was that? Let's have a look. 329,000 damage done and 7 Citadels scored from 107 target hits in this French Superbattleship, the Patrie. Yeah, it turns out funny buttons and gimmicks are overrated. Just give me a decent ship and a decent player and 329,000 damage and 3,200 base experience. Congratulations, extremely well done. Hope you all enjoyed watching it. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.